Now, The Tourist Season 2 starts at 9 p.m. on New Year's Day, which means that you've got a couple of weeks to watch Season 1. I recommend it highly. It is a must-watch. It's mad. Season 2, hold my pint to Season 1. We're going in. We're going madder. The star of it is Jamie Dornan. But, Jamie, I just want to go back to a previous role of yours, that of Christian Grey, to ask you this. In preparation for being Christian Grey in 50 Shades of Grey, did dealing with sadomasochism help you in being a Manchester United fan recently?
Oh, God. I don't think anything could have prepared me for where we're at the moment. Jesus.
Was that a low blow for me? Just for,
it was a bit, you know. Did you support Arsenal?
Mate, what? I'm a Spurs. What did you just say? I'm a Spurs fan. Oh my gosh, Jamie! Not Arsenal. Never Arsenal. I don't even wear red. My son doesn't wear red. He's not allowed. It's very Tottenham, but don't. This is not about me. This is about you and Manchester United and how sadomasochistic it is at the moment.
I did know you were a Spurs fan, but listen, God save Ireland. It's rough. To find ourselves in this position with the manager of the month, the player of the month, and the young player of the goal. What's going on? I do, you know, I agree with pretty much everything Gary Neville ever says, to be honest with you. But you know, I do think he's spot on with that. We can't be. It's not about sacking Erik ten Hag, and it all starts at the top, and something needs to change. And what I find almost amusing at this point now is still being able to label ourselves as, you know, the biggest club in the world. You can't keep saying that when you're not winning football matches and when you're not qualifying for Champions League every year and you're not winning the odd Champions League and you're not winning the league. You're not allowed to keep that. You can't keep saying that, and that won't change. And you certainly can't say it if, you know, the form that we're in at the moment continues, and that it'll all just start with the ownership, sadly.
Now, of course, we don't want to make it about individuals, but has Rashford given up?
Oh, listen, the boy just needs, like, you don't know what a talent he is, like what incredible.
And an incredible human being he is.
I was just going to say what an incredible human being he is, and Jesus, what he's done in the last few years. I think there'll be a burden of that too, I'd imagine, of carrying that and the expectation of what that brings with it. And, you know, as a player, historically, it's not always been season after season of hit. You know, it's not been so. But this is it's hard to watch. I think he's just doesn't look like he's enjoying his football, and that's hard to watch. But you think back to last season, he was unplayable last season. You know, he really was. And that won't be far away. That's what sport's like. You know, it'll be, you know, I know he scored that penalty a couple of weeks ago, but, you know, he's now not starting games. He just needs something to click to turn the season around. And, you know, the mental side of all sport is fascinating to me. And I do think it will be a very small switch that needs to happen and he'll get flying again.
Yeah, we had Stuart Broad on the show a couple of weeks ago, Jamie, and he was saying about how he realised that it was, I can't remember if he said it was 80 or 90% in your mind. Whereas, you know, you think it was kind of the opposite when you're younger. It's all about the skills and it's all about, you know, what you can do. But
no, totally. It's, you know, it's. I've had an argument with someone who said that talent isn't a thing. They don't believe in talent. It's all about hard work and blah blah blah. And I you know, didn't hit him, but I thought about it. But it's just so absurd, you know. Some people, you know, could work harder than anyone else and never get beyond the sort of, you know, conference league, you know, and then you get lads who just have it and just turn up and, you know, dance around training and you just look at George Best, you know, one of my great heroes and from where I'm from, and you know, there's probably people who are working a bit harder and taking training a bit more seriously than him, and match preparation was maybe slightly better than George Best, but
Maradona
making it all happen. No, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But interestingly, every United fan, and obviously you know where we're based in Salford, so my son goes to a school full of Manchester United fans. And speaking of some of the dads, I always say I can't really see why Bruno Fernandes is a captain. He doesn't strike me as captain material, I have to say. And then the one thing they always say straight back is they go, yeah, but who? Who in that team is a captain?
Yeah, it needs to be a starter. It sort of feels like, based on the last 5 or 6 weeks, McTominay would be in with a shout in terms of embodying something that is sort of reminiscent of what great Manchester United players have, and that grit and that determination, and doesn't throw himself around and roll about and fake injuries and get up in the ref's face and all that ugly stuff. I mean, I love football. I really struggle with so many of the people that play it, and I can't handle that side of it. And sadly, Bruno Fernandes embodies a lot of stuff that I despise about football. He also gives the ball away about 80% of the time, but then he will also then just have moments of sheer genius that win games that we have had to rely on for the last couple of seasons when we're not playing very well. So it's a difficult one, and that's a very damning sort of overall look at the club if you struggle to pick a captain for your team that would just embody what the club is about. That's a sad state of affairs.
Well, you can look forward to Garnacho almost certainly winning goal of the year, goal of the season. No, yeah. That's one thing you can look forward to.
Oh, what a moment. God, that was incredible. Yeah.
It was incredible. Do you manage to get to Old Trafford very often? Old Trafford that's falling apart around people's ears.
No, I couldn't bring a hammer and nails with me. I had a season ticket for about 7 years. My dad and I had one, and I'd get the train up from London. He'd fly over from Belfast for years, and then I lost my dad a couple of years ago. But it'd been a few years since we'd had the season ticket. But I'm lucky; they're good to me, and they do often invite me up. And so I'll probably get up once a season these days. And when I'm, I have 3 kids under the age of 11, and
have you imposed this on them? By the way, are they United fans? Have you imposed this?
I took them to Brentford United at one of the first games of last season when Brentford beat us 4-0 up at half time. And the girls had wanted to be Brentford fans. I got them with Brentford shirts and stuff. And actually, our eldest has since switched allegiance amazingly to United, which she thinks is a shrewd move because she keeps asking me where they are in the league and are they above Brentford? And I said, well, yes, they are above Brentford by a few places, but it's not pretty. But that's enough for her to keep her support for United. But I'd love to take the eldest. Our eldest just turned 10 there 2 weeks ago, so I would love to take her up to Old Trafford. But I was going to say I'd take her up to like a sort of guaranteed win game, but they don't exist anymore.
So you haven't got to the stage yet. When I think it was when we were 3-0 up against West Ham and they ended up. Lanzini scored this absolute screech in the 90 whatever minute, and my son turned to me and went, "You did this to me." Have you not had that yet with your eldest?
No, I haven't got that yet. No, and I think they're a wee bit off that, but and actually
it's coming, Jamie. It's coming.
Listen, my dad was a United fan because of George Best, so I didn't have a choice in who I supported. It was handed to me. But listen, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and so it was all good for me. Like I had so few of those moments with my old man because it was all glory. What
was it? There's a brilliant book. I don't know if you read it, about the relationship between Graham Taylor and Elton John. It's a fantastic book. With the author on the other day about it. And Elton John writes about how his dad became someone else when he went to the football. And in fact, it was and this is not the relationship you have with your own father, but his dad was very distant and very cold, but football gave them something. And I wonder what football gave you and your dad, because it certainly gives my son and I something that is very, very close.
Well, it's those core memories, those like days, where you actually get to go on it, going to. If you were lucky enough to support Man United through a time of like the 90s and into the early noughties, I went to 3 Champions League finals in 4 years.
Wow.
You know what I mean? We only won one of them. But, that's London, Rome and Moscow. It's incredible. And they're all nights with my dad, just the two of us away, and a bunch of other people. But when it came down to it, for those 90 minutes sat together in those places on the greatest of occasions, I'll never forget any of them. Even we lost 2 of those 3. I will never forget those moments shared. All of it. Getting to the ground, the sort of the soaking up the atmosphere there, the sort of disappointment of losing, the sort of drinks you go for after losing, and how they differ to the celebratory drinks when you won the Champions League. All of that. I'm so happy that I got that with my dad. I got to experience those crazy highs when Man United were good.
Look, we're running out of time. Thank you for giving your time over to us here, Jamie. How would you sum up season 2 of The Tourist, moving on from season 1? And in some ways, you know, for people who hadn't seen season 1, you can come in at season 2, can't you?
Yeah, you probably could. I'm sure there'll be recaps and they'll fill you in about what sort of went down in the first series. Look, I think it's probably better to watch the first series. It is all the way there. It's easy to access before New Year's Day when the second comes out. But look, it's more of the sort of madness, but with a different color palette. I would say we've gone from the orangey, mad, huge skies of a dusty land of the Australian outback to like the rolling green hills of Ireland. So that honestly has a huge effect on the show. Like, it really genuinely changes the entire sort of feel of the show. But you've also at the core hopefully got these characters that you really care about the journey they're on. And if you're willing to sort of cling on tight, you will go on, as you know well, a really loopy ride with them to get to the end of it. But it's really good fun. It
is. I'm 2 episodes in and mad. Jamie, thank you. I would say good luck to Manchester United, but you know I wouldn't mean it, because we all want that.
You know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we all want that Champions League spot. And Aston Villa. Who would have thought Aston Villa would be in the mix?
I know. Christ, I know.
Well, look, have a good Christmas and New Year, Jamie.
Cheers, Nihal. Thanks, man. Nice to see you.
And you.
All the best.
And you. Take care.